Hey everyone, so in this video I want to talk about how the HPTA system works and how sex hormones such as the testosterone, estrogen and BHD is produced in the male body. I think it's very important to understand this mechanism because with exogenous testosterone or androgen usage, this feedback loop will be turned off, and this is a big part of why many people have side effects like mental side effects, irritability, mood issues, anger issues, not being able to sleep so well, and things like that. So let's start how the system works. So first of all, we have the hypothalamus, which is a part of the brain which produces gonadotropin releasing hormone, which is a signal hormone to the pituitary gland to produce LH and FSH hormones. These are also signals for the testicles. LH is a signal for the testicle to produce testosterone, and FSH is a signal for the testicles to produce sperm. Then this testosterone will be converted into two things, the two sex hormones. First of all, we have dihydrotestosterone, which will be converted via the 5-alpha reductase enzyme, which is also responsible for converting many other hormones into their subhormones. So dihydrotestosterone is very strong androgen. It doesn't build muscle. It's just responsible basically for the male characteristics such as growing hair, aggression, getting oily skin, motivation, and even brain function, libido, so many things. And we have estradiol. By the way, we have 3 types of estrogen in the body, but this is the most important, E2, estradiol, which is converted by the aromatase enzyme, especially in the fat tissues. So basically, if you have more body fat, you will convert more testosterone into estrogen. And these 3 hormones will signal to the hypothalamus to basically regulate the production of GnRH, LH, and FSH, and via these mechanisms, testosterone. So this is how this system works. And as I said, with exogenous testosterone or androgen usage, this loop will be turned off. Like if you start to use testosterone, your hypothalamus will not produce GnRH, then you will not have LH and FSH. I mean, not in sufficient amounts. Like you will still produce some, but very low amounts. So basically, this system will be turned off, and your testicles will not work, and you will be missing very important neurosteroids from the brain and other brain chemicals, which are resulting in these mental side effects and sometimes libido issues and things like that. So, for example, you will be missing DHEA, you will be missing pregnenolone from the brain, progesterone, and things like that. This will be resulting in reduced libido, reduced brain function, anxiety, irritability, harder time to fall into sleep, anxiety, yeah, I already said that, mood issues and things like that. So I think, although it's not confirmed by studies, but I think this is the big reason why not just TRT users, but for example, bodybuilders who take a lot higher dosages than a person should take on testosterone replacement experience these very strong mental side effects. It's also the fact of the high androgen usage, but it's not just that makes them more irritable, having more anxiety, irritability, lack of sleep, and things like that. Also, the reason is missing these hormones from the brain and the neurotransmitters. Other important chemicals that will be missing from the brain via this loop being turned off are serotonin and GABA. And if you do your research actually online, serotonin and GABA are important neurotransmitters that basically makes you more calmer, more centered, feeling less anxiety, less smaller chance basically of depression. They will help you with falling into sleep and just having a clearer mind. And yes, basically, if you have lower levels of serotonin and GABA, then it will be resulting in irritability, anxiety, short temper, and such as explained below. But also libido issues are coming from this aspect. Like it can come from many aspects, for example, too high or too low estrogen or suppressed DHT. But if you will be missing these hormones from the brain, then libido will be on a lower level also. So what can we do to avoid these negative psychological and mental effects of taking exogenous testosterone? Because if you will take testosterone, this loop will be turned off, as I said, and if you take only testosterone, you will experience these mental issues, mood issues to a certain degree. Not everyone is the same. Everyone will experience these things to a different extent, but I think it's noticeable for everyone, and maybe not for the person who is taking the testosterone, but other people around you will probably notice, and yeah, they are probably right if you analyze yourself after these situations. So what can we do about it? Basically, I think it would be mandatory to take HCG for everyone who is on hormone replacement therapy, testosterone or other androgens. It would be, in my opinion, it would be mandatory for bodybuilders also on heavy cycles, because you can just avoid some of the side effects and you can feel much better. So HCG basically acts like LH, luteinizing hormone. So it will signal to your testicles to make testosterone, and also it acts like FSH to a small degree. And this signaling to the testicles will produce other hormones also, which are important from the brain and neurotransmitters. Like it, you will have, for example, more progesterone, more pregnenolone, and yeah, basically your libido will be higher and your mood will be better. So you will just feel better overall. Yeah, and also we will be taking HCG. We will keep the testicular function turned on. So you will maintain testicular size and fertility to a degree. Like it depends on how much you take. It's individual for everyone. So the HCG dosage is not something that you can just get this amount and you will be perfect. You will need to find your correct dose via blood work, to be honest. As I said, it will increase libido and reduce anxiety, irritability. It will also, so testosterone and other sex hormones basically made from cholesterol. So the definition of sex hormones, that it's a hormone made from cholesterol in the body. So if you will take HCG, you will convert some cholesterol, some serum cholesterol into actual testosterone and other hormones. And yeah, basically your cholesterol and blood lipids will be improved just by taking HCG. HCG has another benefit, which is also to increase SHBG, which is usually reduced by exogenous testosterone and exogenous androgens. SHBG is the sex hormone binding globulin, which is responsible for testosterone to be bounded up, and basically when it's in bounded up form, it cannot be converted into estradiol or dihydrotestosterone. So it cannot be converted into anything. It cannot also bind to the androgen receptor. Like it will be inactive, but it doesn't mean that it's useless in the body, because this is actually a transporter mechanism like SHBG helps with transporting the testosterone around the blood. If it's in inactive form, it can still become active later when, for example, it's transported to the androgen receptor. So most people who crashed their SHBG can experience lower libido and basically higher androgenic side effects like more oily skin, more acne, more estrogen conversion, because their free testosterone will be higher. But it's a lot of people think that from free testosterone the higher is the better. It's not actually the case all the time. Like if you have too high free testosterone, you will have a lot of side effects. Like I said, androgenic side effects. It will mess up your skin. It will increase your hair loss and things like that, which are not good. And also, the free testosterone can actually convert into estrogen. So if your SHBG is too low, you will not have optimal libido, and you will also have more side effects. So we want to keep it at a certain amount to have optimal hormone balance, basically. Like it's not just testosterone that we need to optimize, as I think you already understand from this explanation. Testosterone converts into many other hormones, which also affect how will you feel and what kind of health metrics you will have on testosterone. And ACG also turns on other hormones like pregnenolone, progesterone, DHEA, and yeah, it's many things that you need to optimize. And the key to feel your best on a hormone replacement therapy is to have optimal levels and ratios from every one of these hormones. Like you can just have super high testosterone but also super high estrogen, for example, or DHT, or super low estrogen and DHT. Like those are also not good. After being on HCG and measuring pregnenolone and DHEA levels, oral pregnenolone and DHEA supplementation can be needed if these levels are not sufficient, and you can take further higher dosage of HCG because, for example, your testosterone is already high enough, your estrogen is already high enough, and you don't want to take extra HCG, but you are still low from the AGA and pregnenolone. Then oral supplementation of these two hormones can be needed, which can be adjusted via blood work. And so basically you measure your blood work. After being on HCG, you will see the levels of these hormones, and if they are low, you will add a minimal dosage that I will include in the PDF for this video, and you can start with that, and you basically measure the levels after like a month, and yeah, you can adjust it later as needed. And another thing also, that HCG also converts into estradiol. So for example, if you start to take testosterone and your testosterone is already high enough, you don't take any aromatase inhibitor, but your estrogen is too low on the blood work, which can happen. Some people don't convert a lot of testosterone into estrogen, and you have lower libido because of that, your joints hurt, and things like that. Then you can actually lower a little bit the testosterone dosage and add in HCG. So you will have the same amount of testosterone, but you will have higher estrogen, because HCG is also converted into estradiol, and in a larger degree than actual testosterone. And estradiol is also cardioprotective. It's good for example, blood lipids, heart health, skin health. It's needed for muscle building. Like if your estrogen is 0 and you take a ton of testosterone, you will not build muscle the same way as with optimal levels of estrogen. And estrogen also helps with growth hormone turning to IGF-1. So we have growth hormone also, and in our body, and this hormone turns into IGF-1, which is responsible for building muscle basically. But if you have very low levels of estrogen, you will convert a smaller percentage of that growth hormone into IGF-1, which will basically result in smaller levels or power of muscle building. So what is the conclusion of understanding the HPTA system and testosterone production? Like, the conclusion would be, it's not enough to only take testosterone and replace that. There are many other hormones that are important, and will have insufficient levels if you only take testosterone. To avoid the negative side effects of the HPTA suppression, you will need to take HCG.